Right, this is a lovely question of evil genius, okay? So we have a tangent to an ellipse, we have a focal point, and we have a vertex. Okay, so we want to find the major and minor auxiliary circles and then a bit of the ellipse. All right, well, let's see what can we do in this one. Now, the first thing that it's kind of reminding me in my head is that if I go perpendicularly from this line here, the tangent, through a focal point, okay, we'll draw this line here. We of course get on this here, that little bit there is a point on the major circle. Now, how does that help me? Well, the key to this question is realizing this isn't really an ellipse question. Okay, we eventually have to draw an ellipse, but the real challenge here is finding my major circle. If I had my major circle, I'd have my center point, I'd have half of that from the focal point, the whole thing falls into place. So how do I find my major circle? Well, let's think about this for a second. If I have a circle, it's a really badly drawn circle. If I have a better drawn circle, okay, we'll honor the moment by doing this with compass. There we go. And if I take a chord on that circle, okay, and I bisect that chord, that bisector will go through the center of the circle. Okay, well, now I often have to do a second one to find exactly where it is, but I know my center of the circle is somewhere along this line. So all I need is one chord, and it turns out I've just found it. Because if that's a point in the circle, and the vertex is a point in the circle, there's my chord. Aha, yes, now we're flying. So let's go bisect that. And there we are, just line that up nicely. And there's my bisector. So the center is somewhere along this line. It's also, we were given the major axis, like the line of it is along here, because the vertex and the focal point are both on the major axis. So extend that, it has to be somewhere along there. And now, this is my center. So we'll just take that there, mark off the distance, check that it's working. And now I can draw my major circle. So at this point it's going to be plain sailing. So we'll just finish it off for completeness. So my minor axis is somewhere along this line here. Of course I know my minor axis is half the major axis from a focal point. There we go. So we can now go and draw the minor axis. Now they've only asked for a portion of the curve, so I'm going to give them half of the curve. I think I'll take I'll take this half for the hell of it. Doesn't really matter too much. I think I wouldn't be drawing less than half. We'll just pick a point where there's a little less action going on. I don't want to be drawing over all this stuff here. So we'll do our slices. Now, good little tip is mark off the ends of the axes that you know, just to help you on the kind of guidance in this one so you don't get them tripped up. So we'll mark those guys off because we are going from the major circle towards the major axis. Okay, and as before, each of these guys just makes one. So once I have that one done, okay, so each of the diagonal lines just makes 1 point. And there we go. You can see that that's making sense. There we are. Oh, look at that, that actually happens to be our point. So we have that done. A little bit of nice freehand. This is always a nice bit of the curve I find, so I'm holding my pencil about halfway along. A little bit easier to draw those nice arcs. We'll do it light at first. And remember, by the time you get to this vertex on the major axis, it's going vertical, okay? because it has to change direction. And around we come. And again, this is a fairly nice section of the curve. Now that I can see where the curve is going to go, I'll go over it heavy. Again, hold my pencil a little bit further down, get a little bit better pressure on it. And I'm not really a fan of changing around different pencils and so on. I find a nice 2H with just different pressure works really well for me. And there you go.